Steve Rogers, Captain America. He's a soldier. He's a hero. He's also much older than you think. Welcome to the Review Desk. I'm Desmond Kerk, and today we'll find out Steve Rogers' true age. So I watched Endgame for like the billionth time and something caught my attention. Buckle up, Marvelites, cause your old pal Des is about to take you down the MCU rabbit hole. Alright, peep this. The MCU works with fixed dates, so we have a good idea who did what, when they did it, and how old they were. Steve Rogers was born on July 4th, 1918, as evidenced by his rejection form in the first Avenger and his SHIELD personnel file. No wonder he's such a patriot. He crashed in the Arctic in 1945, at which point he was 26 years old. The crash took place in early 1945, thus before July, thus before his 27th birthday. Rogers was revived in 2011, at which point he was physically still 26, but chronologically 93. Side note, I admire Cap's composure and restraint, because if I woken up and found out that I missed my chance at this, I'd unalive anyone associated with Hydra. Anyway, in 2023, the Avengers faced off against the hordes of Thanos.
Assemble.
This took place in October as confirmed by Marvel Studios, at which point Steve was 105 years old. Now, most people consider this his age at the end of the Infinity Saga, but they're overlooking one crucial element. After the battle, Steve goes back in time to return the stones to their places of origin. After doing so, he decides to take a shot at living a good life with Peggy. Most people assume he went straight back to 1945 and popped up as soon as his former self crashed and froze, even though he was physically 12 years older than his former self. But that's not the case, and there's enough evidence to back it up. Steve showing up in 1945 would contradict the events of Agent Carter, a show where Peggy had several romances after Steve's crash. She kissed Jason Wilson in 1947.
For the time being.
Later that same year, she kissed Daniel Souza, her love interest on the show, and eventually started a relationship with him in the season 2 finale. A year before the show started, Captain America the Winter Soldier was released, and in that film, we learned that Peggy eventually married and had a family. It was thought that Agent Carter would reveal the identity of her husband, but Marvel had other plans. Now, before anyone goes and calls Peggy all kinds of distasteful names, she didn't cheat on Steve. The series showed us that the reason these romances took place in 1947 is that it wasn't until 1946 that Peggy was able to find the strength to finally say goodbye to Steve Rogers. Peggy and Daniel broke up shortly after getting together, and no, Steve didn't pop up to end it. They broke up because her work with the SSR wouldn't allow her to commit to a serious relationship. Another piece of evidence is the song Steve and Peggy danced to at the end of Endgame. This song is It's Been a Long, Long Time by Harry James and Kitty Callan, released in October 1945, about a month after the war ended. If Steve popped up in April 1945 and the two left home from the war early, they couldn't dance to a song that didn't exist yet. And he couldn't have brought the record with him from the future. I mean, where would he put it? Would he waste pen particles to shrink it down? Speaking of which, did he shrink down his notebook and take it with him? Or maybe he saw Back to the Future 2 and knew bringing the notebook back would cause some sports almanac situation. But I digress. Run it back. Yep. Yeah, all the way. There. The answer to what year Steve went back lies in Endgame's script. The final shot of Steve and Peggy was supposed to have the following caption: 1949, Washington, D.C. So that's the year Steve traveled back to. Why? It could be that he read about Peggy's other romances and didn't think it would be fair to infringe on those. SHIELD was formed in the 1950s, and Peggy's work with the SSR was instrumental to that event. Swooping her off her feet in 1945 and trading spy action for a white picket fence would have definitely undone all that, as well as erased all of Peggy's many accomplishments with said organization. And that finally brings us to Steve's chronological age. When he went back to 1949, he was 105. 74 years later, he would hand over the shield and the title of Captain America to Sam Wilson.
I'll do my best.
You did your best, Sam, but your movie certainly didn't.
You've got to do better.
Let's do our best at some math. He was 105 in 1949, and 74 years later, he's an old man in Endgame. 105 plus 74 equals, put your phone down and do the math in your head. 105 plus 74 equals 179. Steve Rogers is 179 years old, which makes him almost as old as Wolverine.
I have never met a sadder, more attention-starved, jabbering little prick in my entire life, and that says a lot, because I've been alive for more than 200 years.
And that's the definitive answer to how old this old war hero really is. If you eat healthy, exercise regularly, and add some super juice and a cryo bath, you too could live to this ripe old age. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.